Tomorrow, the Canadian people will be going to the polls to see who they would like to be their prime minister for another 4 years. As you all know, Arana Nation has been very disappointed with this election. Neither of these leaders, these party leaders, deserve a minority. I don't give a damn what anybody says. I did end up voting for the Conservatives, but I am endorsing a Conservative minority where the Bloc Québécois wins the most seats in Quebec and Maxime Bernier wins his own seat in his own riding, and they can hold the Conservative minority accountable. So I'm effectively calling for a very large Conservative minority, but a minority nonetheless. But it looks like what could end up happening, and what I think will happen, is the Liberals will win a minority, and the NDP will form a coalition with the Liberals. And Jagmeet Singh, being the greatest Canadian sellout that he is all too willing to form a coalition with Justin the tacky-headed, tar-faced Mac Daddy Trudeau, who just a few weeks ago, Jagmeet was crying on air, live television, talking about how Trudeau's blackface just reminded him of his youth when he was faced with all sorts of racism and he had to fight a bunch of people to scare them off when they'd be racist towards him. And now this Uncle Tom wants to form a coalition with this racist Justin Trudeau. And I say he's a racist not just because he wore blackface, but because he's a typical white liberal who thinks that without white liberals in power, black folk can't do anything. They can't find a job by themselves. They can't go to school by themselves. They can't even vote by themselves. You notice, whenever a white liberal or a white Democrat or a white socialist says you can't reform the voting laws because then it'll make it harder for black folk to vote, what they're actually saying is, hey, don't make it harder for them niggas to vote. Those niggas don't know anything about IDs. None of them have IDs. It'll be too complicated. They're too stupid. They're just a bunch of broke, busted, criminal, ignorant, uneducated clowns out there. They don't know anything about no ID. They don't got ID. I mean, please, those niggas, don't make it harder for them. They'll vote for us anyway. We can con them all day and all night. You're making it harder for them. That's what they're saying. They don't think we can do anything by ourselves. And that's why Justin wore that blackface, because he sees black folk as a joke. And Jagmeet to rather form a coalition with Trudeau just so that he can get a little taste of power, even if he's just a subordinate, rather than saying, look, I'm going to lose on my feet than win on my knees. For Jagmeet Singh to do that, he ought to be ashamed. He ought to be ashamed. He should say to himself and to Canada, hey, look, I'll never form a coalition with this racist here, with this Mac Daddy, with this Swiftfoot sellout Mac Daddy. He's pimped out everybody in this country. He's broken all of his promises, environmental promises, economic promises, all electoral promises. I ain't going to form a coalition with this Mac Daddy over here. I'd rather lose on my feet than win on my knees. He's sold out. So don't vote for him. He's a sellout. But the more important thing, and I'm strictly talking to Canadians who have some sort of dislike, hatred for Donald Trump, for various reasons. You know, a lot of you think he's a racist, a lot of you think he's screwing this country over, which he is, and I can't blame him. I mean, you know, he's the president of the United States. Why should he care about what Canadians go? He's not a globalist. Globalists are the most disrespected individuals ever. He cares about his country first, which is good. And yeah, he's made a trade deal which benefits his country and which hurts our country. I'm not mad at him. I'm mad at our leaders for accepting it. Justin Trudeau. But the reason why I say that a vote for the Liberals or a vote for the NDP especially since this is going to be a minority and they're going to form a coalition. Jagmeet said he's all ready and willing to be Justin Trudeau's lackey and his Uncle Tom and his porch monkey. A vote for them, the reason I say a vote for the Liberals and the NDP is a vote for Donald Trump is simple. You know, the NDP ruin every economy that they get themselves involved in. The only economy being the exception is the one in Saskatchewan ran by Tommy Douglas. I wouldn't say Tommy Douglas was a socialist. He wasn't an NDP. He would be more like a social credit. He's more of a populist. I would have voted for him. He wouldn't recognize this party now. But whether it's Ontario, whether it's British Columbia, whether it's Alberta, whether it's Newfoundland, all of these places, NDP socialists ruin the economy and ruin it good. All right? That's just something you got to understand. They tear up every economy they get their hands on. Now, the Liberals and the media have said that they have created so many jobs in Canada and unemployment is at a record low. Well, let's correct that here. There are jobs, but the jobs that Canadians have are burger flipping jobs, sweeping some floor job, mopping some floor, cleaning toilets, probably picking cotton somewhere, temporary jobs where the employer can abuse the living hell out of them, and if they even blink in a contemptuous way, they'll be thrown out like dogs. That's what Canadians are doing. You know, foreigners will come, create a big, probably illegal business and only hire their own people, and Canadians don't stand a chance. I mean, you got to be lucky in Toronto being so expensive as it is to even get a proper job. So with that mixed together, you're just ensuring that all of these jobs, the little jobs that remain in Canada, even the sweeping jobs and the cotton picking jobs and the toilet cleaning jobs, but most importantly, the manufacturing jobs, they all go to the United States. And that will ensure that Donald Trump wins a second term in 2020. Now, personally, I wouldn't mind if he won a second term. As I've always said, I want leaders all over the world who are nationalists, populists, who put their country first to be elected. All over the world. No globalists. Globalists should be completely exterminated like cockroaches. Let's end globalism. So I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if he won again. But if he wins because Canadians were so stupid to vote for a coalition which would drain every single job, especially with this new trade deal, all the jobs in Canada, most of the manufacturing jobs, and leaves towns like Cambridge and Oshawa and London and Calgary and Edmonton and Kamloops and Moose Jaw and New Glasgow and all these little towns, just turn them into dust bowls, you know, where you got a bunch of empty, abandoned factories where some Chinaman will come and build condos for rich foreigners. You know, if that's what you guys want, then you guys might as well just vote for Donald Trump, because you are ensuring that he wins a second term, because he will make sure all the jobs in Canada get sucked down to America. That's what happens when the NDP get in power. That's exactly what happens. And that's honestly what happens when Justin the tacky-headed Matt Daddy Trudeau can really be who he wants to be on the economic left. I'm telling you. So you have Jagmeet there. And first of all, Jagmeet's really not going to have a very significant role in any coalition. Really, he won't. Because Justin will easily tap on Elizabeth May's shoulder if Jagmeet gets out of line. If his Uncle Tom gets out of line, he'll throw him and all his NDPers out and bring the Greens in, which would be even worse. You know, but the NDP, what they're advocating for, would be completely detrimental to the economy. And all those jobs, especially the fossil fuel jobs, but especially manufacturing jobs, will all get sucked down to the United States. And Americans will say, look at all these jobs that are popping up in America from Canada. Let's elect Donald Trump again. And first of all, America has already been creating a lot of jobs under Donald Trump, but it'll just be even more. I mean, Jagmeet Singh and Justin Trudeau would be like steroids for the American economy. It would be steroids for the American economy. That's exactly what it would be. So all you anti-Trumpers out there, and let's not beat around the bush. Most Canadians don't like Donald Trump for various reasons. But all you Canucks out there who say you don't like Trump, you're voting for him when you put a vote for the NDP and the Liberals. It's just that simple. And the Greens too. You're voting for Trump because he's going to take our jobs. Because we won't be able, when the NDP and the Liberals, when they get their hands on the economy, they'll destroy it. All those investors, all those manufacturing jobs, all those blue collar jobs, every single one of them will run away. GM will run even quicker than it's been running. They're just kind of walking away from Canada. They'll do a mad Usain Bolt sprint from Canada, and they'll go somewhere else. They'll probably actually go to America because Trump is being tougher on GM than Trudeau or any of them, even on the right, are doing with GM. Really, they forget Mexico, they'll go move to Texas or something like that. That's exactly what's going to happen. Donald Trump is praying for Justin, the tacky-headed, Mac-Daddy, tar-faced Trudeau to be reelected so that he can be his punching bag, first of all, so that he can also create more bad trade deals with Trudeau, which Trudeau will accept, which hurt Canada and help the United States. You got this USMCA, which is a cancer for Canada, but a godsend for the United States and Mexico. And Justin the tacky-headed, tar-faced, swift-foot Mac-Daddy Trudeau happily signed on the dotted line, going to destroy our economy. You see what's going to happen when USMCA gets its hands on our economy. All those jobs will go to America, but it'll be made even worse when you put Jagmeet Singh into this thing now. It'll be even worse when you add Jagmeet into this whole scenario. The jobs will just flood away. They'll flood away, all up in America. And you're going to see Donald Trump walking down that escalator, going up to his podium on November the 4th, 2020, saying thank you for another term as president. We created so many jobs, and in the last few years of my first term, a lot of those jobs came from Canada. That's exactly what he's going to say. So all of y'all are voting for Donald Trump if you do it. I'm telling you, that's what's happening. I'm telling you, that's what's going to happen. You think it's cute voting for Jagmeet. You're tired of Justin the tacky-headed Mac-Daddy Trudeau, and you're going to vote. So, honestly, to be perfectly honest, I think that is what's going to happen. I don't think Canucks are ready. I think they've still got a lot of learning to do, but we don't have time for it. I'm done trying to educate you Canucks. At this point, if that is the outcome tomorrow night, then I am going to do everything I can to advocate for Western separatism, for Quebec separatism, for Ontario separatism, and for maritime separatism. I mean, this election has been a disappointment. Even Andrew Scheer, the conservative leader, he's not impressing me. He's a right-wing globalist. He himself likes this new NAFTA deal, this USMCA. He himself is propping it up as well. This deal is bad for Canada. It's bad for Canadian manufacturing. I mean, I'll tell you, we're going to live in a situation in Canada where if you don't have a university degree, you aren't going to make it anywhere. There used to be a time when, people who aren't university or college staff, you get a blue-collar job. And those were respectable jobs, too. Working in a factory, working in a coal mine, working in the fossil fuel industry, doing with your hands, construction, and you could earn just as much money as any doctor or lawyer out there. You could take vacations, you can do all sorts of things. Those jobs are going to go to America. It's the blue-collar jobs that will leave Canada. It's the blue-collar jobs. If there's an NDP Liberal coalition, almost every single blue-collar job in Canada will leave to America, which will ensure Donald Trump gets a second term as president, something which most Canadians apparently detest. That's why I'm saying this. You voting Liberal and NDP, you're just voting for Trump to get a second term. That's exactly what you are doing. I'm telling you, that's exactly what you're doing. And the only Canadians who will be any successful are those who go 4, 5, 10 years in university studying, laser technology. And not all Canadians are into that. But that's where we're at. Think about what I said. This is the Arana Nation.